But we are back with the mamas, the authors of Sports Moms Playbook, and we've covered so much. I mean, such great information, sharing, just so insightful. But one of the things that I wanted to ask was, how was it working together, coming together, with different voices, different perspectives? Um, you got faith, you got finances, you got, all kinds of things. What was it like for y'all to work together?
Let me go first. Okay, one, these women are so smart. So that's the first thing. Just so smart. So that blew me away. But we are so like-minded. Now, unless you know how sometimes, like, if you're going out with your friends and there's a group chat, and then you might be side group chatting. I really don't believe we had any side group chats. I think we all it's like if something one person didn't like, it's like, well, there was never any bashing. Like, can we think about this? So this was the most organic, beautiful thing I have ever been a part of.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful.
Yes, yes.
And can I say that I haven't known Karen for very long, but what I do know about her is that she is super creative. She's always got, ideas, and it's always to, enlighten, to make others better. And she's you don't tell her no, kind of woman. If I think it, I'm going to do it. But I know that she is very intentional about those in her space. So I'm sure, when she thought about who she wanted to, kind of propose the idea of doing a book, that, each one of you, she knew that you were going to make great contributions. So I think that is a beautiful thing. A beautiful thing. Did anybody else want to, go, tell us what it was like to collaborate?
I will say you use the right word, collaboration. So often in the sports world, and even outside the sports world, because it was like this when I was in corporate in America as well, women are not in collaboration with each other. They're in competition with each other. You have a piece of information that I need, and I'm not going to give it to you because I don't want you to have the advantage. The beauty of working with this group of women, and I didn't know all of them, right? We were learning each other, is that I never felt in competition with anybody. I felt like it was very wonderful to know that Neisha was going to be praying for us to have direction, and Karen was going to point out, like, okay, technical difficulties. Let me check you know, there were things, I remember we were talking about the cover, and Angela was like, have you thought about this, and this? Because here's my experience. And I never, as a person who's never written a book before, and who was kind of like, okay, I guess I have a story to tell. I never once felt like my story wasn't valued. I never once felt like it didn't fit. And it was truly from start to finish. We were collaborating on on a book together. We weren't in competition. And that is not something that you find very often in the sports world.
Yeah, I agree with you there. Absolutely. Nisa?
I just wanted to add, it's Karen, really. Like, Karen, the spirit that she leads with, or that she brings people together with, it's like you said, it's intentional, but it's very honest and authentic. And she is always rooting for the best. So how can you bring negative energy into that space? So I think we all worked well together, because it is important that the story be told, and it's important that our stories be told. But it's also important to represent the beauty of who Karen is throughout this book. And that lends itself to, who she chose. She could have chosen anybody. She knows, like, everybody. So the fact that we as women were able to come together, I think it's just because I will tell Karen. I mean, she could email me anything, and I'm like, I will probably never say no to you. You're right. I will never say no to her. It's like it's not because it's a threaten or I threaten or I'm afraid to. It's because I know that whatever she's doing, it is so much purpose and intention behind it that I want to support it. So, and that's what it was like to work with these women. Everybody had good intentions and a good purpose that they wanted to contribute, and so it was easy. You know, maybe not to Karen. She probably had some late nights because we did miss some deadlines, but it made you feel like that pressure, like you know, you'll get that gentle push, like, "Hey, got your email yet?" I'm like, "Oh, wait, let me do that right now."
All I got to say is to God be the glory. I mean, for him to bring you guys and just contribute. I think we all have like-minded heart. We wanted the other parents to know about what we went through. We want them to learn. We wanted them to make informed decisions. We wanted to share our stories. And so it was nobody but God.
Absolutely.
I still
Amen.
don't think that we've got, I'm sorry, Angela. I don't believe we have hit whatever it is we're getting ready to hit. I think we are still gingerly moving about the cabinet. And it's going to be that one person, it's going to be that one thing, that's something that's going to happen, and it's just going to blow up because the women and the men, they still don't know that they need this.
That's good.
And I haven't figured out how to say you need it. Like open it up, read it, because they have a misconception about, well, it's just a mom sports book telling their story.
Right.
No, these are nuggets that you don't have and you need it. So when we unlock that, because God made me a promise. Remember, I told y'all early.
Double portion.
And I would, it's really funny that you're saying that, or not funny. That's how God works. Because I was having a conversation with a friend, and I was like, I haven't found my voice yet. The words to describe what we did. And once you find that, it becomes way easier to describe what you did. And so I definitely agree that we haven't figured out the words yet. Maybe we're in the same place where it's like, I did it. I got it out. It's into this. It's in the world. And once we sit with that for a while, we can say, okay, this is how we're going to tell the people about what we put into the world.
Yes.
I
can't lie. I was a little bit reluctant. And not because of anything in particular, but I had published books before and I published them solo. And so, but the thing about it is like everybody's saying, it was a God thing for me because I work with women, but I started working with women kicking and screaming. Because women can be difficult, and sometimes we don't, as Jamesetta said, we don't often collaborate. It's competition most of the time. And so it's just kind of like, I didn't know who the women were. It was like, well, who are these women? And am I going to have to do this? Or, how is this going to go? But everything really just came together because it was meant to be. And the other thing that I want to say is it's not even about how we say it to people. Whoever did the little blurb for this particular podcast said something about breadcrumbs. And that thing hit me like a ton of bricks. It was like, because that's what this is. We didn't have breadcrumbs, so to speak, right? And so the fact that we are willing and able and have left breadcrumbs for parents that are coming after us, that's gold. You know what I'm saying? And it's up to the people to buy the book, right? Shameless plug. It's up to you to buy the book. I'm not trying to make anybody buy the book. But when people look at my story, just like people that know me, everybody think that there's some pixie dust or something. No, it was blood, sweat, tears. It was hard work. All these kids were different. We didn't know, I'm having kids. I was 18 when I had my first child. So and people told me I would never be nothing. I'm an author of 4 books. My young adults are killing the game right now. So, I mean, I only say 4 because the bonus one came after the fact. But what I'm saying is, it's like it was a God thing. And that's why I do believe it did really go about smoothly. Like maybe our time frame was a little off or whatever, but we never riffed. We never, was like, well, I want to be chapter 1. I want to be chapter 3. Yeah, it just came together and we just did it. You know what I mean? And so, but when you think about corporate, when you think about women, typically it's like, I don't know if I'm gonna do Nina's podcast. She said this last week and I ain't like it, and things like that. We didn't do that. So it was definitely God. And I'm just blessed to be here with these ladies now, and even the ones that are missing. This book has the potential to change and shift some of the things that you're thinking now that may not be where they're supposed to be. And the fact that we stuck faith on there, God
Mhm.
has to honor that because we are women of faith and we did have to walk by faith. And faith is why we're here tonight. So, just all glory to God, just like Karen said. So we appreciate you, Karen. We're going to give you your flowers while you're here.
All
Exactly.
right, all right. Got to give those flowers.
And I just want to piggyback off and to say our first in-person encounter last February for the sports moms. Like when I met these women in person, it was just organic. It was like we had been on Zooms and all of that throughout the time, but when we came face to face, we were just like, it was just natural. And we built such a great bond and I just love them to death. And again, Miss Karen, we're going to give you your flowers. We thank you for this opportunity. And I'm grateful for the relationships I've built.
That is wonderful. And I love how everybody is so unselfish because each of you had a voice that was tremendous. You know what I mean? Like to contribute to the book. So, for you to come together and work together and not feel like you said that it had to be one or the other or one had to go first or whatever. It's a true testament to your you're actually wanting to help others, you know what I mean, and to be of service, which is something that Karen always talks about. Is once you decide that you are going to serve people, you move in a different way. It's not about you, it's not about all your gain, it's about what you can really give to other people to make them better. And I love that. And I love that y'all speak truth because, in the world of sports, there are a lot of truths and sometimes people don't tell it. So I was curious to know, was there anything that you felt might make some people uncomfortable? Because when you're speaking from a parent standpoint and a mom standpoint, we're not seeing it like coaches are seeing it. We're not seeing it like establishments who see our kids as athletes and, dollar signs, etc. We're seeing it as these human beings and the opportunities that you talked about that playing sports affords them, and all of the other things that it helps to make them better people. So I'm just wondering, did any of you feel like there are going to be some things in here that people might not want to hear, but they need to hear it anyway?
I think
I can speak on that for a second because all of us share one common goal. Like you said, it's about making the person whole, like Nisa said. So we were saying education in sports, foundation in sports. So I think there will be some, shallow-minded people that may come across the book and because they're all about sports and they may not understand that you need to be well-rounded, both in sports and other things. So I think that would make some people uncomfortable.
Okay.
I think it's the faith piece. We have a group of parents who want control. If I do A, B, C, D, and E, then there's going to be a predictable outcome. I'm going to say, just, parents, I don't want you guys to think that we didn't struggle. We did. It's very difficult to trust God I found it very difficult to trust God with my children's dream at times. And you're kind of like, okay, God, that did not go how I prayed. I mean, okay, just maybe it's just me. I'm like, why didn't I pray for that?
oh, why my kid? Why did my kid? And what happened? Yeah.
Yeah, but does it ever go the way we thought?
Listen, I'm just saying,
Some people that seem to be like in heaven, everything was great.
Right. But at the end of the day, we really don't know anything.
And that is what I love about this book. And that's why people need to buy this book, because you can do what all of us as parents, we made mistakes. And that's another great thing about this book, because it's in the book. What could we have done differently? What are some things that we just, basically just did not get right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And part of that is, like you said, just sometimes we are human. We lose sight of the fact that we are truly not in control. Like, we are not in control of the outcome as much as we want to be. And so this book, that might put some people off, because I'm telling you, some of these parents, when they in it, they are in it. And it's like, oh yeah, my baby going to the league. Oh, yeah, my baby's going to be number one, the big Gatorade player of the year, $5 million NIL deals. It's in their mind. And when you read this book, you're going to get a lot of tips. You're going to get a lot of information. You're going to get a lot of reality checks as well.
Yes.
You're going to get grounded. And for some people, that steals the thunder or the excitement of, having this athlete. But for us, it made my life easier. I'm going to tell you, reading other stories, it just, I'm like, oh, good. Because I didn't have it right. They didn't have it right. We all trying to get it right. Good.
Right. I don't think that our book is for those types of people. Our book is for the person that needs some help. They need some guidance. They need a roadmap. We're the roadmap.
Yeah, but some of these people, they need the roadmap. They might not.
But they're closed-minded. So you got to be open-minded for the book.
Right.
They need it because they are reeling.
Right.
Thinking that, if I do A, B, C, next stop is D. And you might do A, B, C and wind up at X.
Right. Right. Because just because you need Jesus don't mean you're going to try him.
And that's important. Like the things that we're saying, the number of parents, like, so on the back end, like we were talking earlier about mental health, so many athletes, overwhelmingly, they will have some type of mental health issue. And part of it would be alleviated. Like, I know some of y'all right now, you didn't spend $5,000 this year on travel. I have a mom I was talking to. She sent her daughter to IMG for soccer for a week. It was $11,000. I was like, that's tuition. What are we doing here? So we're thinking like there are literally millions of parents that are like, well, if I just go to this camp and I pay for this and I do this, then that's gonna, and they need this book because you can do all of the things. And if that is not God's best for your child, you're not going to end up there. And it's okay. You don't want to.
That's the part that you get.
Jeremiah 29 and 11. If it's not God's plan, it's okay.
Right. The safest place to be is where God wants you to be.
Yes.
The safest place.
And I'm learning that, like, to be transparent. Even though I put my chapter in the book, I'm still walking that walk, right? I'm still like, oh, goodness, when is this going to happen? How is it going to happen or whatnot? But again, I believe in Jeremiah 29:11. So I know that it's going to happen. I just, and it's not my job to figure out when. So that's what these other parents that read the book, they need to be open-minded and understand, like Nisaa was saying, you might go A, B, C, D and be at X, Y, Z. And that's okay if that's in God's plan.
And sometimes even with sports, I mean, it's a means to an end. And sometimes people don't realize where that end is, or they don't, like, you all have said, they don't have a true understanding of who they are and where they want to be. So they're just led by this. They're led by this vision that, their child has to be the rock star, has to be, number one in the draft. We talk about that, the draft coming up. You may not be number one. You may not be in the first round. You may not be in the first two rounds, but that doesn't mean that whatever God has,
that he can work it all together.
He's not going to work it out. Yeah,
But that's why they need the book, because you don't know what you don't know. And the
Yes.
thing is that we're not saying that we have it all right, but I got two examples based on what you ladies just said. So a lot of times, especially in the football world, these you got Hall of Famers, and the one that comes to my mind right now is Jerome Bettis. He went to Notre Dame. My son went to Notre Dame. Jerome Bettis is a Hall of Famer, but guess what? He went back to school and got his degree. So the fact that our emphasis is creating student athletes, right? And making sure that our young people are whole and making sure that they know who they are, right? And not just who they are, but whose they are. That is what helps a little bit with that mental health. That's what can get you through things that you wouldn't normally get through if you don't have faith or if you don't have that strong backing. If your mom is really just like, when you going to buy me a house, instead of, baby, I'm here for you. I'll never forget my son wasn't playing his freshman year. And again, I was like, my son should be playing, da, 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 da. But he's like, Mama, you don't have to come. And I was like, son, I'm not coming because you're on the football field or not. I'm coming to see you. I'm coming to check on you. I'm coming to make sure you're good. And I'm coming to let you know your mama's going to always be here. So that's the one thing. And then the other thing, like about the draft and stuff, I have friends now in the NFL. One young lady, her son, they projected her son to be a first round pick. He did not get drafted. So what I'm saying is, you don't know what you don't know. So why not pick up a copy of our book and see what you can't get from it? Because instead of just judging and saying, well, this is just the route my child is on, because again, injuries happen, life happens, babies happen, all coaches happen. And so with all of those things mixed in, you don't know what you're going to get. So if you ain't rooted and planted, good luck. Because that's what you're going to need if you ain't got no faith.
Can I give y'all the scripture for what we're saying?
Come on, sis.
It's Proverbs 16:9. In their hearts, humans plan their course, but the Lord establishes their steps.
Come on now.
And we have to be okay with that in the sports world. We are not okay with that. And we have to be okay with that, especially when the journey, I call it's ugly. It's the journey no one wants to talk about. And the real work, parents, when you listen to this, the real work isn't, and then I say this as a person who's going to do an event at the draft. The real work isn't Thursday through Sunday or Thursday through Saturday. The real work starts when someone's undrafted.
Right.
You actually understand what an agent is made of. That's when you actually understand what your child is made of. The real work starts when they have to get into a private workout or a rookie minicamp or maybe the G League. The real work isn't when you get drafted. The real work is I'm Mr. Irrelevant and then I become Brock Purdy. That makes a record that perfectly. And we don't talk about that enough.
No.
Yes.
No.
That's where the real work is. It's not in the first round or the second. Now, people like the money attached to the first and the second, but the real work is when the draft is over and no one's called your name.
Yeah.
Or they called your name and they called you in the third round, but that whole year they put you on injury reserve. And they don't, and so now you have no film. And so the real work is really working on that human that we're talking about.
Amen. That part.
Karen knows my story that's not even in the book, but my son did go undrafted, was projected to go in the third round. His father died 3 days before the draft, unexpectedly. Then he went undrafted. Do you know, if we didn't have faith, we would be like still spinning a spinning top right now. But we have faith, and we can't worry about that. We can't worry about what other people, thought of him or didn't think of him or where he landed, because in the end, we knew he was going to land in the right place. And he wound up doing that. I mean, I always tell people when I talk to them, do the statistics of how many people are in the NFL at any given time of any professional sport. And then think about how many people are in D1 schools.
Do the math.
I think they're going somewhere.
It's like, so the likelihood of your dream ending how you have it playing out in your head is not likely.
The math ain't mathing.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
the math's not math.
The odds are not in your favor, friends. The odds are not in your favor.
No, and
And
we're
it's
not telling them not to go for what they want and not to be disciplined and hardworking and steadfast and have fortitude and resilience. We're not saying that. We're just saying that when you have all of that, it cannot all be focused on just the sports. It
yes.
has to be building who you actually are, because you're
Yeah.
going to need that much longer than you ever play a sport. So
Absolutely.
I'm with Neisha, I'm with Angela. That's why it was so easy for us, because we've all been through this, where it's like, once you're in it, you're in it. You're in it and you're like, oh, I got to do this, I got to do that, I got to do this. But you need to actually take a moment to reflect on what it is you're trying to do and what you are truly trying to accomplish with your
Right.
child. And then the rest is going to fall in place.
Right.
The rest, and that's what this book does. It slows you down to actually reflect, where are you right now? What are you doing that's important for the development of your child towards that goal, or towards any other goal? Honestly, with looking at the book, it could be towards anything that you want your child to do, or that you are trying to develop them into a good human being to be able to be resilient enough to do.
Right.
Most players won't. When my son made it to the NFL, people said, the first contract, it's not, you're working towards a second. So even though you're so excited, I'm with Jamesetta, you're so excited to hear their name called or even not called, but the real work doesn't start like from that moment on. Now you're working for that next contract. Now you're working to make sure that you get one that's going to really, change your life. And because now, you're on a team with all these people again, and you might not be the best, and the coach might not like you, and the general manager doesn't care for you, and the offensive coordinator look at you crazy, and you got a baby at home. It's so much. And it's like, who is really, trying to make sure that this person remains sane through this entire process?
My God.
Out for them.
It's in the waiting that you find out who you are.
Yes. When AJ went, and I've told this story really quick, when he went to Cleveland, he wound up going to the Browns. And I was fortunate enough to be able to travel up there with him. And I was so dismayed. I told Karen this story. I was so dismayed because when we went there, we're going there to go shopping for him, to make sure he has food, to make sure he has furniture, to make sure he's all set up, and comfortable. Because the day they show up for training camp, they're practicing. And I mean, they don't have the time. They are practicing and then they're sleeping. It was some players who were there who had an air mattress in their apartment. Now, most people think the NFL is so glamorous and it's so great, and everybody is, has multi-million-dollar homes and, luxury. And I'm like, their body is the tool that they use for their sport. And they're laying this body on an air mattress because they don't have the time or anyone else supporting them enough to make sure that they have a bed to sleep on.
Yeah.
How lonely is that when you are, but they have responsibilities back at home. They're needing to take care of people at home. I just couldn't. It was just a lot for me to see that. And I was like, man, I just don't even know how they're coping with this on their own here. How would they even do it? How long are they going to be on that air mattress before they have time to go and buy, but all they're focused on is, I'm in training camp. I really want to make the team. I want to make this roster. So they're just powering through. That's not sustainable. So as parents, we have to, know these things. The book helps you to understand and to foresee some of these things that you can alleviate this stress from your athlete's life in all manners. I just buy the book. If you don't do anything else, just buy the book. I mean, you will be glad that you did. You will be very happy that you did, because there's so much that we don't know that is in this book that we should know.
I love it. I love it. Well, I'm advocating for everybody to buy the book. And I do, I think about like the fact that you all have such rich experiences. You have the good, you have the bad, you got all the knowledge, and not to say that you think that you know everything, but you know enough to be able to help somebody else along, like you said, to not make those same mistakes.
Oh no.
Oh, I think she froze.
She
Yeah, I
froze.
think she froze. Uh-oh.
Them hot,
We kind of we went out. Now we're back. Are we okay?
We're back.
Is
Froze.
everybody there? Okay.
Yeah.
So I want to know, what would you say you would, if you had to, what would you have done differently, or what did you learn during this process? What was the most important thing you learned as mom, that you maybe did before that you would do differently now?
I don't know about doing anything different now, but what I will say to parents is that, especially when you're talking about the recruiting process, and things have changed drastically since
Mhm.
my sons were recruited in 2018 and 2016, I believe, right? Yeah, 2 years apart. Yeah, so drastically, right? But the one thing that I really want parents to understand is that coaches lie, and they lie, and they will lie, and they still lie, and even with NIL they lie. They'll sue you now. You know, these NIL contracts,
And they
they can
all
sue you and
lie.
whatnot. So again, I'm just being honest, because coaches, what I learned was Friday nights are about X's and O's. The coaches are doing what they need to do to win. Saturday night's the same thing. Sunday's the same thing. And so the coaches have their own best interests at heart. They're trying to keep their job. But what I tried to do a good job of with when they came to my living room, when they came to my home, I challenged them in every way I could. And one particular example I want to share is my son was a track athlete. Troy, the NFL player, was a track athlete and a football athlete. Brian Kelly did not want Troy to run track. I brought him in my house, and we were sitting down just having a good old time. And I said, well, I want Troy to run track. And he was, landing on thick, about what he was going to do, and Troy was going to be here and he was going to be there. And I said, well, I would like for him to at least run track 1 year. And I said, you're gonna allow that? You're gonna make that happen? Because I had already heard that he don't like the dual athletes. And so
Mm.
he said, yeah. And he had to honor that, because I'm that mom that will get in your face and remind you that when you sat in my living room, this is what you said to me. And so my
That's
son
right.
was able to run 3 years. He medaled every year. He had a great track coach those 3 years too, I would say, because they never gave him a break in the weight room. And weights
Mhm.
and track don't really mix. And so, but he had a really good track coach who knew his speed and knew he needed his talent. And so it worked out good for me. But I just want parents to understand, they will sell you a dream. And then when your baby gets there, they no longer really have to answer to you. So understand that coaches lie. So regardless of what they're saying, and as parents, we get so starstruck and we're so excited because, again, they're in our living room. This is who I saw on TV. He wants
Mm.
my son.
Mm.
They'll lie to you. So understand that. I don't know if it was anything I would have did different, because I've been on some. Ask a few of them about me.
So that's one of those things that might make some folks uncomfortable, but it is a truth that needs to be
It is
told,
the
because
truth, baby.
yes,
I would not lie. They will lie to you. They will sell you a dream. They will tell you all of this and that. And some of them will tell you those things, and you don't even have an offer from them.
They'll lie to you. They'll lie on you. They'll lie about you.
oh,
It's seriously. There is.
oh, I know it.
They have a job to do, and their
Right.
job is to recruit your child and get them where they want them to be. And this is one thing that I will say that I've would have done differently. I would not see, this was my problem. I just come from the idea that people who are in positions are qualified to be in that position.
No, ma'am.
And what I have learned, and it was a hard lesson, but it's the truth. But I tell everybody, do not believe that these coaches, these GMs, and I hate to say it, I hope my son don't get kicked off the team for this. Coordinators, defensive coordinators.
We got you, sis. We praying.
And if he does, it's we'll wherever God let them land, that's where you're gonna land. But you believe that they know what they are doing. You believe that they can evaluate talents and defensive schemes and offensive schemes, and you believe, but they do not.
Mm.
And not, that's not all of them. Some of them do, but
Right.
plenty of them do not.
Mhm.
A lot of this is copycat. You know,
Ooh,
one
Papa
person thinks
says
they're
we
good.
got a book.
Another book.
I
I
mean,
love
and so that's one thing.
Mm.
If I could go back into, if there were anything different that I would say for myself, it would be not to believe, not to have the misjudgment of my own understanding. I feel like if you're a head coach, or you are the director of player personnel, or if you're an offensive coordinator, that you're qualified, like you have good sense, like you can make good decisions and good judgments, but that's not
Not
true.
always.
And parents really need to know that, because it's really hard when you think someone is qualified to make a decision, and they're making a decision that you're like, man, then you start to question yourself. And even as an athlete, they start to question themselves, like, well, if I'm doing what, they told me to do, and I'm, meeting these, if I'm doing A, B, and C, why do I keep ending up at X?
And that part, all of you seems like you have raised respectable children, respectful children, children that that have values. And even I think about that with my son. You think you do the right thing, and you are not bucking. You're just trying to do what the coach wants you to do. You're trying to be there. You're working hard. You're out there when you're injured, just because they say get out here, and whatever the case may be. And then you look and you'd be like, oh, wait a minute, don't y'all see that that's not right? You know what I mean? And sometimes it's not going to get you where you think you're going. You're still doing the right thing, but they're not always doing the right thing.
Right.
And many of times where people tell you, well, the coach knows what they know what they're doing. I'm sorry, that's not always the case.
That's not true.
I'm just going to add, in this new NIL space,
Mhm.
agents, attorneys, they don't know what they're doing either. Y'all don't even, parents don't be asking, are you even licensed to give advice in a state my child go to school? So no, they don't. None of them. They don't know.
We're just going to put a caveat.
None of them.
Don't take for granted that anyone is qualified to make decisions or choices. That's when you should vet things and really, just ask questions, read the book. So you'll have some information, some questions. Read the book, buy the book.
Right.
So you have questions to ask to really determine if someone is even qualified to be making decisions in reference to your child, or if those decisions that they're making should even sting. Because
I was just gonna say, because they still can lie. And we really got to just be talking about at the college level, because when you talk about professional, that's a whole nother, that's nepotism, that's somebody's uncle and nephew. This one played, so they want to create that dynamic. It's too much when you get into the professional realm. But even in the recruiting realm, they can still lie. I think my husband was really good at kind of knowing schemes and things like that. That's why my younger son went to HBCU, but he was a running back, and he was 5'7". And my husband was like, no, he don't get recruited like that. We shifted him. We moved him to slot receiver, and he started getting offers. And so that was his, because I wouldn't have known that. I would have just let the boy keep running the ball, and probably he wouldn't have got a scholarship. So my husband was real good at seeing the talent and being able to put our boys in the right position. And so that was a blessing, but everybody don't have that. You know what I mean? So when you don't know, you just don't know.
You just don't know. You just don't know. Get the book, so you will at least you'll have some question, some database to pull from.
And don't say we didn't tell you. We told you.
Don't say you didn't know.
Absolutely.
Because you can, because you will. That's one thing I did learn. I had to learn defensive schemes because then I'm trying to figure out how to best support, you know, my son in this situation. But if I don't know the defensive schemes, then I'm like, well, no, he wasn't out of position. The safety was out of position.
Come on, sis. You better talk about it.
But that's thing, and then you can talk to the coach intelligently. You can say, well, no, you can't grade him based on what the safety was doing. So right. But they will. They'll, oh no, that wasn't a missed tackle. That wasn't even his tackle. He ran to go get. There are things that you can learn, because again, you asked the question, and I'm just going to say it again. I would not give credit to people who didn't deserve credit. That they understood what they were doing. And that's one thing that I did take for granted. And if I could go back, that would be one thing that I wouldn't. But I did teach my son that. Now he knows. He was like, I don't trust him. Nope, I don't trust him as far as I can throw him.
I don't necessarily know that it's something that I would have done differently, but something I wish I had, a mindset shift that I wish I'd had earlier. So many times you hear people say ball is life, ball is life, ball is life, ball is life. And I think when we first started sports when they were younger, like before we got into recruiting, I was like, yeah, ball is life. But it really isn't. Ball is leverage. It's a tool that you can use to, pay for your education. You can use it to introduce you to economic opportunities that you may not have before, or relationship opportunities. And so I look back and I wish, one of the things I tell my clients is make friends, because people are going to come see your child. You never know who you're sitting next to in the stands. But if you make friends, then over the years, you'll have like a Rolodex. So if your child wants to be a plumber, you probably sat next to a plumber in the stands. You made a friend, or if you a hairdresser, or whatever the career may be. And so I didn't start collecting people early enough. I didn't start just literally saying, oh, at sports, this is where you're going to get the most people at one time. So get to know the people around you, just because you never know if your child needs an open door into a world that they may not have access to. And so I would say, I wouldn't necessarily, it's not something I would do differently, because when you know better, you do better. But I would have looked at athletics as a tool to introduce me to introduce my kids to other worlds. And I would have started helping them build their Rolodex of people earlier in their sports career.
Yeah. That makes so much sense. I know my son had a trainer, Chris Thomas, who played in the NFL, and he would tell my son, when you get to school, it is really not just about, you're playing football and going to your classes. It's the networking opportunities while you're at a college, when you're in an institution like that. And, here at UCLA and, Oklahoma, you have to make the most of those connections, because, as you all have said, you don't know what your future holds. So maybe you're not playing football at that next level, but now you have connections from your alumni where you can take that and go, just about anywhere. And like, my son is not playing football now, but he's in the medical device sales industry. And they were just so interested and fascinated about him playing football and where he played football and who he played with. And even when they were in surgeries, he said sometimes the doctors, the surgeons are talking about football, and they're talking about, well, what happened over there? And I'm just like, it's really interesting how that sport can take you. Sports can take you, so far in life. And so you just use those experiences as like those building blocks, so that, you can further whatever it is, your career, education, be the example, that you can be for others that are coming behind you. So, yeah, I just appreciate, that we just learning more, from you about the book. I will be encouraging for every mom, any mom that even thinks that she wants to come into sports. And I don't think that it's too early, or there is a too early, because I know when my son was playing, we made decisions about the school that he was going to go to, junior high school and high school, based on the fact that he seemed to really like football and he seemed to be really good at it. And then we knew that there was an opportunity for scholarships and to go on and play at the college level. So you can't really start too young, trying to decide, okay, this is the path that we want to take. Like you all said, everything is not going to go exactly like you think is going to go. But if you at least have knowledge, especially from like the Sports Moms Playbook that's going to give you the knowledge, then you can make those informed decisions and just help yourself out. So I appreciate that. um I just have to ask you, Karen, is there another book, you know, right behind? Or are y'all gonna go on tour? Because it just seems like you really can. I know you do conferences. I know all of you have been a part of, a conference for sports moms. But what do you see from here, Karen, with Sports Moms Playbook?
Yes and yes. We do hope to eventually be a series that we come out with another 10 moms that share, because we want their voices to be heard. It is time for moms to come out the groups. It's time for them to come and share so they can help another mom. So we are going to be doing another series. And then, we do need to do a tour. And so hopefully we can get someone that can come and help us plan that, because it's a lot to try to plan something like that. But we are going to do a small official book signing that's going to be on February the 7th. It's going to be in Louisville, Texas. So it's going to be a sports mom. It's going to be a Super Bowl. We're going to be doing pre-Super Bowl, and it's going to be at a woman Black-owned restaurant in Louisville, Texas. So that's where we're going to have our first little book signing then. And then hopefully when we have the conference again this year, we will definitely have a table for the authors to come in and sign their books. And so I'm working on right now building our email list. And so hopefully this conference, we would have a house full of ladies that are lined up to be ready for you guys to sign your book. So that is the plan for 2026.
Wonderful. Yes. Absolutely. I have to ask you some quick questions. I want to just get the real from each and every one of you. So let's say, Angela, we'll start with you. One word, give me one word to describe early sports motherhood. Like, give me one word to describe what it's like for a mom, like at that early stage.
Chaos.
Wait, hold on one second.
Chaos.
I need that solo. Let me ask you that again. Angela, give me one word that describes early sports motherhood.
That's it. Chaos. It's you don't know. The baby don't know. Chaos, because I mean, and when I think about every sport, like, so everybody did track and field as well. The babies are looking back. They stopping before the finish line. If you talk about football, I'm so nervous because I'm thinking somebody's gonna hit my baby. My baby end up hitting folks. It's just chaos for me, like as a parent, because I had no idea. Like I said, I played basketball. Troy and Chance played basketball, a little middle school kind of that phase. But no, chaos. Because you don't know. You're just a parent. You're just out there. A lot of daddy ball. The coaches don't know what they're doing. Chaos is the word. That's the word.
I can relate to that. I think about like filming, and all you can see is the floor and the sky and everywhere, because I just
that too.
All over the place. As you get,
or you yelling into the video. So when you get home, like, we can't see, we can't hear. Why are you yelling?
That's true. All right. Let's say, Karen, what is one thing that you would never do again?
Oh, one thing that I would never do again. Have a baby.
Good answer. Good answer.
Okay, so
That's exactly what popped in my head. Like, have a kid.
no, but as a sports mom, is there anything that you feel like you did, that you just would never do again?
I would say, I don't know. I would say not encouraging my son to go to a HBCU. I felt like because it was all in my head about Power Five and going to USC and all the big colleges that I never really gave the HBCUs a chance. And if I had done that, I believe my son would have went and graduated at a HBCU. He did go to one, but he went with me not being necessarily encouraging him because I thought that he was supposed to be at a bigger school. But I should have, I needed to change my mind. That's why I read my chapter, because my mind was all off. I was this indebted sports mom, and I probably was living his dream. I was probably living vicariously through him. And so, yes, and so allowing him to choose and being okay with him choosing, and not constantly trying to change his mind. Okay, control. That's me. Read my chapter. Yes.
Okay. I have to ask Shajuana, I have to ask you that same question. Is there anything that you would not do again?
I can't say stress because I be stressing out, but I wouldn't look at a timeline. That's been my issue. Like, I thought that this was, like we said earlier, I thought this was supposed to happen at a certain time. After the draft, you're supposed to have this many months before you get picked up. I just need to understand that it's God's time and not my time. So yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that makes perfect sense. So I want to ask you, Neisha, how do you feel sports moms, how do you see our impact in the community? Like, so much, more than, just being a sports mom and just being in our circle. How do you see our outreach? How big do you feel our outreach is?
I mean, I feel like, one, we're the motor that keeps everything going. Whether you are, married or single, like, we're the motor. So I just really want to tell the moms, hey, we see you. Continue your unconditional love. Thank you for all the juice, the sandwiches that you make, like, every single aspect of you not eating so your kid can eat or somebody else's kid can eat. Every aspect of it is important. And that, hold on, don't gatekeep. And if you don't have information, now there's tools for you to find out the information you need, or just as we were talking about, being with other women, or even other people, just to kind of get a grasp on what's next for you and your student athlete.
That's powerful. Yeah.
Did I answer your question?
Yes, you did. Yes, you did. Well, Nisa, let me just ask you, what is the thing that made you the most proud, that your son accomplished as an athlete? Because I know we know sometimes it doesn't even have to be.
So, as an athlete, or just in life?
Well, I say, what has he done as an athlete that impressed you the most? Because I know sometimes it's not the yards, that the ring.
Absolutely. Well, it's the one thing, as when he graduated, from college, he
Mhm.
received the captain's award. They give their captains, they name their captains at the end of the season,
Mhm.
and he was named captain at the end of the season. Um, and that same year, he was given the Barry Sanders Award. Um, and that made me very proud because that award signified someone who did not want all the pomp and circumstance. They just put their nose down and just did what they were supposed to do. And the fact that he got both of those awards that year, that made me very proud because I'm like, this is who, this is the kid I know.
Mhm.
Not what he's doing on the field, but what he does when nobody's watching or when, he doesn't care who's watching. This is what he does. He puts his nose down, he works hard, and he helps as many people as he can. He's always going to be the one to try and bring someone else along. And those two awards signify that to me. And so that made me very proud. That's so a lot of things that he's done have made me proud. I see pictures where, one of his teammates may have just had like a bad play or something, and I see him go over and like put his arm around him, like, it's good. I see those things too. My daughters always make fun of me because they're like, you can always find him on the sideline. And I'm like, yeah, because I'm looking. Sometimes I
Right.
can't find him on the field, but I can always find him on the sideline. I do. That's just the habit that I have. I want to see how he's engaging. So those things have made me proud. But when he graduated college, those two awards, and I actually have the captain's award here with me in my home. He has the Barry Sanders award, but I have that award because it really made me proud to know that people see who he is as a genuine person,
Yeah.
um, outside of his athletic ability. So
I
that,
love that.
yeah.
I love that. Well, I mean, these are definitely, nuggets. You got nuggets in the book, but you always just speak nuggets, as the powerful moms that you are. Jamesetta, I want to in the questions, the rapid questions with you, just to kind of find out how do you advise, or what's the best advice for families to safeguard their legacy with their athletes, especially student athletes in this world of NIL?
So I would say, let me just quantify because lots of people think legacy and they think dollars. And I
Mhm,
don't. It
mhm,
goes back to what Nisa said earlier about the whole person. As a parent, the most powerful thing you can do is admit you don't know and surround yourself with people with tools to help you not understand recruiting or going pro, but to help you understand holistically the business of sports, which starts as soon as your child gets into sports. If they're 5 or 25, they're still in the business of sports. And
mhm,
business principles, they typically don't change. There may be pivots in how people do business, but the underlying principles typically tend to stay the same. And if your child sees you consistently trying to learn, consistently trying to get better for them, consistently trying to create space for them to be the whole person God created them to be, not just the athlete, what happens is never you don't actually have to be your child's agent because you become their advisor. They see you learning, they see you stretching, they see you growing. People can't come and say, well, my dad doesn't know or my mom doesn't know, because your kid can go back and say, well, she might not know, but she's going to learn. I see her
mhm,
learning all the time. And just when I talk to professional athletes, or the ones that I work with and support, whether they're in the US or whether they're international, the common theme, the ones who remain closest to their families without having long term hiccups, is my mom or my dad kept learning. They understood that I was going somewhere that they have never been, and they were not afraid to be embarrassed because they didn't know. They didn't feel like they had to be, had to fake it. And so, if you just, as a parent, say, hey, this is a business, and I'm going to learn the principles of the business that I'm in, regardless of whether my kid doesn't play past middle school or whether they go pro. If you learn the business of sports, it will allow you to have a different relationship and function as your child's advisor instinctively. And you can take advisor status everywhere, whether your kid is a professional athlete or a high school athlete. Doesn't matter when they stop. You can take being your child's advisor everywhere. And so I would just say, always be learning, always be looking for people to pour into you, always be looking for people to network and share and to broaden your horizon and allow your child to see you actively learning and admitting that you don't have all the answers, but you're willing to go get them.
I love that. I love that. It can't be more powerful than that. And all of you, each of you speak to just the power of the mama, in our families' lives, and just the power of women in each other's lives. So I truly appreciate just this conversation has been so wonderful. It's been one of the most powerful conversations that I've been a part of, just in terms of pouring into each other and showing how we can pour into our kids' lives and just uplift one another. So I look forward to everything else, to come with the Sports Moms Playbook and with the conferences. And, we've been talking a little, Karen and I, I'm supporting Cass over here. So anything that I can do to support and contribute, I am so into that. And Karen, is there anything that you want to share?
Get the book.
Get the book. Get the
Right.
Okay.
That's it.
Right. Well, I appreciate y'all. I can't say thank you enough, and thank you for staying up, because it's later over where you are than where I am. But thank you all. Definitely want to share, information on all of your businesses, your foundations. We'll make sure that we, put that up. And I just want to say to all the mamas that are listening, listen to yourself, listen to your voice, and know that you are powerful. You do have information to impart. You are your child's biggest advocate, and don't let anybody tell you anything any differently. And then, get the Sports Moms Playbook, because you will learn things that you don't know. And I just appreciate y'all. And anybody listening, please like, share, and subscribe, and check out everything else that's to come with all of these amazing ladies here. So thank y'all.
Thank you for having us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.